upset. Welcome, everyone. Today we're diving into something that matters to all of us, how to look and feel younger longer. Upset. Not just living more years, but living better years. When we talk about aging, one of the most overlooked factors is insulin. Upset. Most people think wrinkles, gray hair, or slowing energy are just about genetics and time. But the truth is, upset. One of the strongest drivers of aging in the body is chronically high insulin. Upset. Insulin is a hormone that acts like a storage signal. Upset. Whenever you eat, especially carbohydrates, it rises to move sugar out of your blood and into your cells. Upset. This is a normal process, but when insulin stays elevated too often, it starts to create damage. Upset. High insulin accelerates fat storage, triggers inflammation, and prevents the body from tapping into fat as fuel. Over years, upset. This process not only contributes to weight gain, but also promotes diseases tied to premature aging, such as diabetes, upset, cardiovascular disease, and even cognitive decline. The good news is that by learning how to lower and control insulin, upset, you create an environment where your body can repair, regenerate, and age much more slowly. Think of insulin like a switch. Upset. When it is up, your body is in storage mode. When it is down, your body shifts into repair mode. Upset. Most people live their entire day with insulin elevated because they snack constantly. Upset. Even eating small amounts of food throughout the day keeps insulin stimulated. Upset. Which means the body rarely has a chance to rest and heal. Upset. One of the most effective ways to lower insulin is through intermittent fasting. By stretching out the period between meals, upset, you allow insulin levels to drop and your body begins burning stored fat for fuel. Upset. This process is not only beneficial for weight management, but also for cellular longevity. When insulin is low, upset, pathways like autophagy are activated. Upset. Autophagy is the natural cleaning mechanism where old and damaged cells are broken down and recycled into new ones. Upset. It is like upgrading the hardware inside your body, making your cells function more youthfully. Upset. Another key to lowering insulin is reducing refined carbohydrates and sugars. Foods like white bread, pasta, rice, sodas, upset pastries, and even fruit juices spike blood sugar quickly, which means insulin surges to deal with the sugar load. Over time, upset. The constant spiking of insulin leads to something called insulin resistance, where the cells stop responding efficiently. Upset. The pancreas compensates by producing even more insulin, and now you have a situation where insulin is chronically high. Upset. This not only locks away fat, but also accelerates the aging process. Upset. Switching to a diet rich in nutrient-dense foods like non-starchy vegetables, high-quality proteins, upset, and healthy fats keeps insulin stable. When you avoid the constant roller coaster of sugar highs and crashes, upset. Your energy levels are steady, your mood improves, upset. And your body has the resources to repair tissues rather than constantly putting out fires. Upset. It's also important to understand that lowering insulin is not about starving yourself or cutting out all carbs. Upset. It's about creating balance and giving your body time between meals to do its work. Simple changes like skipping snacks, upset. Eating 2 to 3 nutrient-rich meals per day and avoiding late night eating can make a profound difference. Upset. With consistent practice, your body adapts by becoming more efficient at burning fat and producing steady energy. Upset. People often report clearer skin, sharper focus, and reduced joint pain simply by stabilizing insulin. Upset. These are not just cosmetic benefits. They are signs of deeper rejuvenation happening at the cellular level. Upset. Would you like me to continue with a 600-word explanation for Keynote 2 in the same style? Upset. When people think about staying young, they often focus on external fixes like creams, serums, or even surgical procedures. Upset. But what really drives how youthful your body feels and looks is what happens inside at the cellular level. Upset. Cells cannot repair themselves or build new, strong tissue if they do not have the raw materials they need. Upset. And those raw materials come from nutrients. Upset. One of the biggest reasons people age faster than they should is because they are deficient in essential vitamins and minerals. Upset. These deficiencies are not always obvious, but over time they show up as fatigue, muscle weakness, brittle skin, upset, premature wrinkles, and even chronic conditions. The modern diet, dominated by processed foods, refined grains, and added sugars, upset, delivers calories but very little nutrition. Your body cannot thrive on empty fuel. It needs nutrient density. Upset. Nutrient-dense foods are those that give you the highest amount of vitamins, minerals. Upset. And phytonutrients for the fewest calories. This is the foundation for longevity because without these tools, upset, your body simply cannot maintain itself in a youthful state. Potassium, for example, upset, is a mineral that most people don't get nearly enough of. The requirement for potassium is thousands of milligrams per day. Upset. Yet the average person only gets a fraction of that. Potassium helps regulate blood pressure, supports muscle and nerve function. Upset, and even influences how well your cells can use energy. A lack of potassium leaves you vulnerable to fatigue, weakness, upset, and cardiovascular issues. Where does it come from? Mainly vegetables, especially leafy greens. Upset. That is why loading your plate with salads, spinach, kale, and other greens is critical for slowing down the aging process. Upset. Magnesium is another mineral that often gets overlooked. Upset. Yet it is needed for over 300 biochemical reactions in the body. It plays a role in DNA repair, energy production, upset, and relaxation of the nervous system. Without magnesium, sleep suffers, stress rises, and cells become less efficient at renewal. Upset. Seeds, nuts, and certain vegetables are excellent sources. Upset. And including them consistently helps your cells perform at their best. Trace minerals like zinc, selenium, upset, and iodine also contribute to how youthful you remain. Zinc is essential for immune strength and tissue healing. Upset. Selenium protects against oxidative damage, and iodine supports thyroid health, which regulates metabolism. Upset. Even small deficiencies in these trace minerals can create a ripple effect that makes you feel and look older than you really are. Upset. These nutrients don't come from junk food or heavily processed products. They are found in nutrient-rich proteins like seafood, upset, and grass-fed meats, as well as in vegetables grown in mineral-rich soil. Upset. The body relies on these subtle elements for proper hormone balance, enzyme activity, and cellular defense. When you get enough, upset. You feel vibrant and strong. When you lack them, you feel depleted and sluggish. Another often missed category is B vitamins, upset, especially B1, B6, B12, and folate. These are vital for energy metabolism, nerve function, and brain clarity. Upset. Deficiency leads to brain fog, mood issues, and even faster cognitive decline. Upset. Since aging is closely tied to the brain's ability to stay sharp, upset. Ensuring your diet has enough B vitamins is like insurance for your mind. Animal proteins, nutritional yeast, upset. And certain vegetables provide these vitamins in natural forms that the body can absorb effectively. Upset. What is equally important is not just consuming these nutrients, but reducing foods that deplete them. Refined sugar, alcohol, upset, and highly processed grains rob the body of nutrients as they are metabolized, creating more demand than supply. Over time, upset. This imbalance accelerates wear and tear. By choosing foods with high nutrient density, upset, you not only supply the body with the raw materials it needs, upset, but you also lower the burden of harmful substances that speed up aging, upset. Think of every meal as either contributing to repair and youthfulness or taking away from it, upset. If most of your meals are nutrient-rich, You are constantly building resilience, repairing DNA, maintaining collagen, upset, and fueling mitochondria. That is how you extend vitality over decades rather than just adding years without quality. Upset. Would you like me to prepare your keynote 3 in 600 words in the same style? Upset. Inside every single cell of your body are tiny power plants called mitochondria. Upset. And they are the engines that keep you alive and energized. Upset. They take the food you eat and the oxygen you breathe and convert them into energy molecules called ATP. Without ATP, upset. Your heart cannot beat, your brain cannot think, your muscles cannot contract, and your cells cannot repair. When you are young, upset. Your mitochondria are abundant and efficient, producing clean energy quickly and reliably. But as you age, upset. The number of mitochondria declines and the efficiency of the remaining ones decreases. Upset. They start producing more waste in the form of free radicals, which damage DNA, proteins, and cell membranes. Upset. This decline in mitochondrial health is one of the central reasons why people feel fatigued, lose muscle strength, upset, and develop age-related diseases. The good news is that mitochondria are not fixed. They can be supported, protected, upset, and even stimulated to multiply through certain lifestyle habits. By focusing on mitochondrial health, upset, you create a foundation for feeling younger and more resilient. Upset. One of the most powerful ways to protect your mitochondria is fasting. When you extend the time between meals, upset, your body shifts from constantly burning glucose to tapping into fat stores. Upset. This metabolic shift triggers the production of ketones, an alternative fuel that burns cleaner than glucose. Upset. Ketones generate less oxidative stress and actually protect mitochondria from damage. In addition, upset. Fasting stimulates mitochondrial biogenesis, which means your body creates new mitochondria to replace the old ones. Upset. With more mitochondria working efficiently, your energy levels climb, your brain feels clearer, upset, and your body recovers faster from stress. Upset. This is one reason people who practice intermittent fasting often report sharper thinking and steady energy throughout the day. Upset. Exercise is another mitochondrial booster. When you engage in physical activity, upset, especially high-intensity intervals or strength training, you stress the muscles in a way that signals your body to adapt. Upset. That adaptation includes creating more mitochondria to handle the increased demand for energy. Over time, upset. People who exercise regularly have significantly more mitochondria than sedentary individuals. Upset, which translates into better endurance, greater strength, and slower aging. Upset. Even something as simple as brisk walking or climbing stairs contributes to mitochondrial resilience. Upset. Movement is not just about burning calories, it is literally about upgrading your internal power plants. Upset. Nutrition also plays a central role in mitochondrial support. Upset. Antioxidants are compounds that neutralize free radicals before they can harm the delicate structures inside mitochondria. Upset. Foods like cruciferous vegetables, berries, green tea, and herbs like turmeric are rich in these protective substances. Upset. They act like shields, reducing the oxidative burden and allowing mitochondria to function at higher efficiency. Coenzyme Q10, upset, found in certain meats and fish, is especially important because it is directly involved in the mitochondrial energy process. Upset. Without it, energy production stalls and fatigue sets in. Healthy fats such as those from avocados, olive oil, nuts, upset, and wild-caught fish provide clean fuel that mitochondria prefer. Upset. Supporting sustained energy rather than the spikes and crashes linked to refined carbohydrates. Upset. Sleep is another overlooked but essential factor for mitochondrial health. During deep sleep, the body goes into repair mode, upset, clearing out waste products and restoring cellular function. When sleep is cut short or disrupted, mitochondria suffer, upset, leading to reduced energy and accelerated wear and tear. upset. Chronic sleep deprivation is one of the fastest ways to drain mitochondrial function, which is why prioritizing consistent, upset, high-quality rest is not just about feeling refreshed in the morning. It is about preserving your long-term vitality. Upset. Stress management also ties directly to mitochondrial preservation. Upset. Chronic stress floods the body with cortisol and other stress hormones, upset, which interfere with normal mitochondrial activity and increase free radical production. Taking time for relaxation, upset. Deep breathing or simply walking outdoors in nature reduces this burden, upset. Even brief moments of calm can shift the body into a state where mitochondria can repair instead of being constantly under siege, upset. By caring for your mitochondria, you are essentially caring for the batteries that keep every cell alive and youthful, upset. The more efficient and numerous your mitochondria, the more energy you will have, the slower you will age, upset, and the stronger your body will remain across the years, upset. Do you want me to expand Keynote 4 in 600 words, next in the same continuous style, upset? Stress is one of the most underestimated accelerators of aging. Most people assume aging is simply about the passing of time, upset. But in reality, the chemistry of your body plays a major role. One of the key hormones that ties stress to aging is cortisol, upset. Cortisol is released by the adrenal glands in response to physical or emotional stress. In short bursts, it can be useful, upset, helping you handle emergencies or adapt to sudden changes. But when cortisol is chronically elevated, upset, it begins to break the body down. High cortisol leads to the loss of muscle protein, thinning of the skin, weakening of bones, upset, and suppression of the immune system. Over time, this not only makes you feel older, but also look older, upset. Managing stress and prioritizing recovery is therefore not just about mental well-being. It is a critical strategy for staying youthful, upset. One way stress accelerates aging is by interfering with sleep, upset. Cortisol should naturally be lower at night, so the body can shift into repair mode. When stress keeps cortisol high, upset, sleep becomes shallow or fragmented, robbing the body of its most important time to heal. During deep sleep, upset, the brain clears out toxins, the immune system strengthens, and tissues regenerate. Without this, damage accumulates, upset, energy declines, and premature aging sets in, creating habits that lower cortisol before bed, upset, such as avoiding late night screens, practicing breathing exercises, or keeping a consistent sleep schedule, upset, can make a profound difference in how rejuvenated you feel each morning, upset. Another overlooked effect of stress is its impact on the skin. Cortisol increases blood sugar levels, upset, which in turn damages collagen through a process called glycation, upset. Collagen is the protein that gives skin its firmness and elasticity. When collagen is damaged, the skin becomes thinner, upset, less elastic, and more prone to wrinkles. Chronic stress, therefore, literally etches itself onto the face, upset. Supporting the body with proper nutrients helps, but reducing stress itself is the root solution. Techniques such as mindfulness, upset. Short daily walks and taking breaks from digital devices calm the nervous system and lower cortisol, upset, allowing collagen and other structural proteins to remain intact for longer, upset. Movement also plays an interesting role in balancing stress, upset. Intense overtraining can actually elevate cortisol and age the body faster, upset. But moderate and consistent activity helps lower stress levels. Activities like yoga, swimming, upset, or simply walking outdoors regulate the nervous system and give the body a chance to reset, upset. Even spending time in nature has been shown to drop cortisol levels significantly. The sound of water, fresh air, upset, and exposure to natural light all send signals to the brain that it is safe, upset, reducing the chronic stress response that wears the body down. Nutrition influences stress more than people realize, upset. High sugar and high caffeine diets can keep cortisol elevated, making stress management harder. On the other hand, upset. Magnesium-rich foods, healthy fats, and B vitamins help calm the nervous system and support adrenal health. Magnesium, upset, in particular, plays a role in over 300 biochemical reactions, many of which regulate stress responses. Upset. A diet full of leafy greens, seeds, and whole foods gives your body the raw materials it needs to handle stress more gracefully. Upset. Hydration also matters, as dehydration is a physical stressor that pushes cortisol higher. Upset. Breathing and relaxation techniques may seem simple, but they have profound effects on stress chemistry. Slow upset. Deep breathing activates the parasympathetic nervous system, the body's built-in calming switch. Upset. Just a few minutes of focused breathing each day lowers cortisol, reduces heart rate. Upset, and tells the body it can focus on repair instead of defense. These small practices, when repeated daily, upset, accumulate into powerful tools for longevity. When stress is not managed, the body lives in a constant state of breakdown. Upset. Muscles waste away, fat accumulates around the midsection, energy plummets, and mental clarity fades. Upset. But when you build routines that prioritize recovery, the opposite occurs. The body rebuilds, energy stabilizes. Upset, and both the mind and appearance stay youthful. By making stress management a daily priority, upset, you create the conditions where the body can focus on regeneration instead of survival. Upset. Do you want me to move on and develop Keynote 5 and 600 words in the same smooth flow? When people talk about living longer, upset, they often imagine reaching a high number of years, but what really matters is not just lifespan, but health span. Upset. Lifespan is the total number of years you live, while health span is the number of those years you spend feeling energetic, upset, mobile, clear-minded, and free from chronic disease. Upset. Too many people add years at the end of their lives that are marked by fatigue, medication, and dependence on others. Upset. The true goal of longevity is to extend the period of life when you feel young, strong, and capable. Upset. This means building habits today that allow your body and mind to remain resilient for decades. Upset, so that the extra years are filled with vitality rather than decline. Health span is determined by the choices you make every day. Upset. Nutrition, movement, sleep, and stress management all work together to keep your cells functioning optimally. Upset. When cells are supplied with the right nutrients, protected from excess damage, and given time to repair, upset, they continue to function almost like younger cells. That cellular health translates into physical strength, clear skin, upset, strong immunity, and sharp mental performance. On the other hand, when cells are constantly stressed by poor diet, toxins, upset, lack of rest, or chronic inflammation, they break down faster, leading to accelerated aging and disease. Upset. What people often do not realize is that many of the so-called normal signs of aging, fatigue, stiffness, brain fog, upset, or digestive trouble, are not simply inevitable. They are often the result of lifestyle choices that can be changed. Upset. Focusing on nutrient density, lowering insulin, protecting mitochondria, managing stress, upset, and activating autophagy all feed into this concept of extending health span. Upset. Each of these strategies addresses a core mechanism that influences how long your body and mind remain functional at a high level. Upset. For example, stable insulin means reduced inflammation and a lower risk of degenerative diseases. Upset. Healthy mitochondria means steady energy and endurance. Autophagy means constant recycling of old, damaged parts into new, upset, efficient ones. Together, these processes create a body that resists the wear and tear usually associated with aging. Upset. It is also important to understand that health span is not just physical, but also mental. Upset. Cognitive decline is one of the most feared aspects of aging, yet much of it is preventable. A brain nourished with healthy fats, upset, B vitamins, and omega-3s, while being protected from excess sugar and toxins, can remain sharp well into older age. Upset. Regular learning, social interaction, and physical exercise stimulate neuroplasticity. Upset. The brain's ability to form new connections, which keeps memory and problem-solving abilities alive. Upset. A person with a long health span is not just walking without pain, they are also thinking clearly, engaging with life. Upset. And enjoying independence. Daily habits that may seem small compound over time. Choosing whole foods over processed ones. Upset. Fasting between meals, walking instead of sitting, and practicing calm breathing all add up to extra years of quality life. Upset. The opposite choices, constant snacking, processed carbs, late nights. Upset. And chronic stress, shrink health span even if lifespan is extended by medical intervention. Upset. The real reward is not in adding more candles to a cake, but in being able to enjoy those extra years fully, traveling, creating. Upset. And spending time with loved ones without being limited by poor health. Upset. When you start to view longevity through the lens of health span, your priorities shift. Upset. It becomes less about quick fixes and more about building a lifestyle that continuously nourishes, repairs. Upset. And strengthens the body and mind. You no longer chase youth through external solutions, but cultivate it from within. Upset. Ensuring that every additional year is one that you can truly live with energy, freedom, and purpose.